Adaptation has to also be matched with adaptation finance. Right? Kenya has been struggling, like most other African countries, developing countries that are the least emitters, struggling to mobilize its own internal resources. And there has not been, and this I'm sure will be evident shortly as we begin tough negotiations. There's the developed countries who are actually the largest, the biggest emitters, and bear the greatest responsibility, are not doing their job. They're not doing their part. They are not supporting us in terms of finances, in terms of technology and capacity. And so priority for us is adaptation and adaptation finance. I'm sure you've been hearing about the 100 billion US dollars pledge or obligation or commitment. Which was delivered, which that pledge was made in 10 years ago. And would have been delivered by, actually the developed countries were required to have delivered that 100 billion US dollars per year by 2020. You just do the calculations. But that never happened. By 2020 came and passed. And now what we have, and is going to be a key issue here for at the political level, I'm sure our president will be taking, has been speaking about it very strongly. What we are now being presented with here is another delivery plan that our friends and developing countries are presenting to us, telling us we will now be prepared to deliver the 100 billion US dollars per year by 2023. So goalposts have been shifted. And then by 2024-25, we will deliver 500 billion US dollars. For us, this is now shifting goalpost, right? In the meantime, the devastation that our people have to suffer. So yes, you will be hearing a lot about the undelivered pledge or commitment, which goes to trust, and there is trust that has been broken. The other point, of course, that will be important for Kenya is the issue of loss and damage. Loss and damage here becomes relevant because we are already suffering. Suffering the effects of the impacts of climate change. Whether you are talking about the rising lake levels, you are talking about the impacts of drought, and so on and so forth. Adaptation is ensuring that our people, our communities, our economy has the necessary resilience, adaptive capacity to withstand or quickly recover from the impacts of climate change. When it rains and all our infrastructure is washed up, the lakes of a flood, the rivers of a flood, when drought, so firstly is adaptation, and adaptation is building the capacity of our infrastructure, of our people and communities to withstand, to absorb the shocks of the devastating impacts of climate change. Now, to do that, you require resources. Global warming is caused by greenhouse emissions. Kenya emits less than 1% of the global total. Africa, less than 5%. And yet, Kenya and Africa suffer or bears the brunt of climate change. So for Kenya, a number of issues, and Africa and the developing countries. Firstly, for us, it is about adaptation. So we are affected by climate change as a whole. And I mean, you don't need science to know climate change is real. You can see and witness the devastation of floods when it rains, or the devastation of drought when it doesn't rain. So Kenya is perpetually, like most part of Africa, and developing countries perpetually under emergency. We're under emergency all the time throughout the year. You know, of course, what is happening in the rising lakes and so on and so forth. Yes. So Kenya is affected like every other country, but more so, Kenya being climate vulnerable, one of the most climate vulnerable countries. The COP26, which was supposed to happen last year, did not because of COVID. And we were prepared for this conference last year, but then it was not possible. We are prepared. Our technical teams have been participating in the informal negotiations, virtual negotiations, the entire of last year, the entire of this year, or at least the balance of this year, again virtually, because again of the COVID, and also at the technical level and policy level. All the key issues that are in contention, and those issues that we as a country, as Kenya, take very, very seriously, then we are more than prepared. And Cabinet has been fully briefed. Our leadership has been briefed. Our President is fully on top of it.